here for the disability talk?
I figured I would join in. Not that,
Right on.
Not that I have any disability, but I am on a journey of mental health.
Yeah, which is also what this talk is about.
Exactly.
Because those things go hand in hand.
This is not a passive-aggressive question at all, but who are we waiting on? Anybody?
I guess I was told we had more people, but okay.
We have had 3 people who were going to be joining us for this, but who, for reasons including their own disabilities, are actually not able to make the conversation today. And which brings up a very good point of it is really challenging to ask people who are disabled to advocate and to engage in disability advocacy sometimes, because they can't always make it because of said disabilities.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're ready for our calling guest, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Beautiful.
So, Alex, is that her name? Alex, are you there?
I am.
Yay! We have a guest! We did it! Please.
Oh, look, there I am. Look at that.
Look at that. You know, we're all here. We're all in the same room. Nothing odd going on here.
No shenanigans whatsoever.
None.
So I don't know how we should open this. I guess we should kind of go around and sort of talk about our own struggles for a second and then move on naturally from there.
Yes, but perhaps if folks aren't familiar with who Alex is, Alex, do you want to
Yeah.
let people
Oh, yeah,
know where they
sure.
can find you?
Where they can find me. You can find me on Night Watch. I'm the shipping volunteer up there. My name is Alexandra, or Alex if you prefer. My pronouns are she, they. Is that good, or do we need more?
No, I think that's great. And thank you.
Cool.
We can stay with Alex then. Can you describe your disability or... Yeah, I don't really know how to... Emily, help me out here. How do I
Tell us about
ask
your
this question?
traumas.
Yeah, exactly. A question I don't like generally, so...
Well, I mean...
I would say, Alex, okay, I'm going to go into minister mode for a moment.
Sure.
So, Alex, can you tell us what parts of your story brought you to this conversation today?
Yeah, so actually, 2022 ended up being... Sorry, I'm like slightly speech jammed. So my 2022 ended up being a really big year for me in terms of figuring out sort of the various aspects of my disability, some of which are new to me. So I was born with something called osteogenesis imperfecta, which means that my bones are super brittle. So if you've seen like way back in the day, like Kid President or Samuel L. Jackson in that one movie,
Unbreakable.
that's what I have. So I've broken a number of bones throughout my life. I think I'm up to 18 so far. The most recent one was 4 years ago, and like those physical traumas are, well, as the name would suggest, quite traumatizing, right? And so I actually went through a full mental health sort of psych assessment through 2022, and have come to the conclusion that I have PTSD as a result of all of this, which is becoming quite pronounced now because I am presently in Calgary and it snowed recently, so there's ice all over the place, and I'm at a big risk right now. So yeah, so we're juggling all kinds of interesting things on my end right now, and that's why I wanted to contribute to this conversation.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Mikey. I have multiple sclerosis. I've had 2 strokes. And in 2017, I kind of almost died there for a second. That was pretty rough. And yeah, you were talking about post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a thing I definitely dealt with. But I felt kind of lucky, like after going through therapy and kind of helping myself find a better foothold. It was interesting in 2020 when the world shut down and everyone was alone all the time. I was like, oh, I could actually like offer people advice here because I did this. I was alone for a whole year. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to like explain to people, I guess, like what is invisible about either mental health or physical health. And have people see you, I guess, is the biggest sort of struggle all the time. Because you never know what anyone's dealing with. And as it turns out, in the world all the time, everyone's dealing with a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
And disability, I think, and mental health get kicked down the list of importance, I guess, to others. And that's sort of my story.
Well, Colin, I am like I said, I'm on a journey with my mental health, with that battling depression, anxiety, and working through ADHD at the moment.
Yeah.
My name is Emily, she, her, and I'm sure someone can link to me telling the concussion story. And I have an MTBI, minor traumatic brain injury, that to this day I still have residual effects of, and can fall into a bad brain hole where I simply lose my ability to speak, as well as other issues. And above and beyond that, I have that lovely spiraling trifecta of anxiety with panic attacks, ADHD, undiagnosed because it is more female predominant presenting, which was not diagnosed in the 80s, and cyclical depression, which, yeah!
I have a hole in my brain. You want to see it? No, I really do. That was our 2021 discovery. Anyway.
Did. Hi, I'm Jacob Burgess. I have very severe ADHD, anxiety, and depression. I also, unfortunately, in the past year, caught long COVID. So I have some new disabilities associated with that, including chronic fatigue and aphasia. It has also made some of the ADHD symptoms worse, and the memory problems worse.
Yeah. I feel you there, bud.
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of very good care, but it's, you know, they're still present and all accounted for. It's just having to make a lot of adjustments. I'm still coming to grips. That may be the first time that I've ever actually said that I was disabled. So it is a work in progress. Yeah. This might be harder for me than I thought.
You got this.
Thanks, buddy. I have no doubt. Doesn't mean it's not going to be hard.
No. I mean, yeah. So I'm gonna try to keep jokey.
Yeah,
It's easier to talk through all the gross, horrible
Those
things.
things with the jokey.
When, you know, like, what if we all did it in this voice? What if, hey?
Hardest thing for me.
That sounds like Charlie Day. Hey, Mac.
I want to be very clear too that we appreciate all the sympathy and everything like that, but I don't think anybody here is looking for pity.
No.
Yeah.
I stopped looking for pity a long time ago.
One of the hardest things for me was the moment I put on a badge on my jacket that said I have an invisible disability.
Yeah.
Because with the head injury, I couldn't balance well. So on a bus, I had to sit down. And people would look at me and go, why do you need to sit down? I'm not getting up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That happens to me a lot.
And-
Except when I have a cast on.
Yeah. I had somebody while I was on crutches be like, you seem fine.
Cool. Thanks for that snap assessment.
Yeah.
Awesome. Just as a thing, do you have a medical degree on you at any point? No? Oh, weird. Strange. How that might be. Yeah. Yep. This panel, how did this come about? Because I just kind of found out about it today. Maybe we should give a little background to that.
Julie, who is one of the volunteers, put out a call on our volunteer Slack asking if anyone would be interested in having a disability chat. Unfortunately, she is one of the people who, because of her disability, which she has talked about on stream and online quite a bit, was not able to make it today.
Got it.
And so then we had a little discussion back and forth about the things we wanted to talk about.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And I only jumped in because I was on the Slack board and I realized you were.
Oh yeah, I no. Here's part of my no. I'm trying to find the right way to say this. If you tell me to join a Slack, I won't.
Yeah, I get it.
Is that
Yeah, we have a Slack about it. Great.
cool?
Yeah.
The hard no. Yep. But if you stumbled upon the Slack naturally, yeah, then, if it happened organically,
wild.
then you might be more inclined.
In its
Yeah.
natural
Yeah.
habitat,
Yeah.
as it
Just,
were.
just casually joining a professional environment.
Yeah.
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 Hey, ISO, I'm not going to read that because I don't want that to go up.
So are we?
Sassy ISO is being
So
sassy.
do we want to tell because I have a bunch of really strange stories about I don't know, in 2021 I caught COVID and broke my knee at the same time while displaced from my ruined house while expected to continue making YouTube videos.
Well,
That was pretty cool.
yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
fun. How'd that go?
I made a really good M. Night Shyamalan video, which by the way is how you say it. It is not Shyamalan, it is Shyamalan.
Shyamalan.
We've been
Shyamalan.
saying it wrong for 20 years,
Okay, and we should stop.
and we should stop.
And now we've learned.
But yeah, 2021 was the bad one for COVID for me, because that was like when you already can't walk and you break your leg, that's like a whole other level of
Yeah.
yeah, I was in a dark place, I think.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you deal with it?
We worked a lot. I honestly, and this is gonna sound so bad and dumb, but I love my wife, Tara. You're the best. She made me. I'm gonna say this out loud, and this is a safe space.
Yes.
100%.
To get through some of her traumas and things in her life, she had gotten really into Jersey Shore as a teenager.
Yeah.
And she made me watch the entirety of Jersey Shore, which actually was super nice, but also it was kind of this show about weird, heinous people that party too much, that all become great people and great parents that half of them are sober now. And I don't know, Jersey Shore has a good arc.
Yeah.
Also
Wait.
helpful with PTSD, straight up,
I'm
honestly.
sorry. Jersey Shore ends up redemptive?
Yeah, absolutely redemptive. Yeah, I'm gonna movies of Mikey everything at some point, so Jersey Shore, get in line. Let's go.
So Jersey Shore is how you got through that.
Jersey Shore is how I know I love Tara more than anyone else in the world, because I would not have watched Jersey Shore for anyone else, and I watched all of it.
That is a sign of love. So if I can ask, how did everybody how did everybody discover? I don't know what the right verbiage is here. What was the inciting moment where you're like, oh, I think something might be off. I need to get this checked out, or yeah.
Me?
Yeah. What was the first time you
so
knew?
Mine's kind of interesting. So my physical disability is actually genetic. So it came down through my mom's side of the family, sort of one generation to the next. And I somehow seem to have it the most severe out of any of my family members for a couple generations. So that was fun. But they knew about that during the pregnancy. So I was a high-risk pregnancy, and then I was sort of confiscated immediately upon birth to make sure that I wasn't born with any broken bones. Because my mom actually was. She was born with a broken collarbone.
Oh.
And I don't know about the other members of my family. In the last 3 generations, only one person has been born without it. So his kids are now safe forever, and the rest of us are still dealing with this. And then the mental health stuff, I think I was sort of ignoring it until COVID happened, and then there was all that world stress, and my brain kind of exploded, and I was like, I think I need to go talk to someone.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
So that's how I found out about all of that, and I didn't mention earlier, but I also have depression and anxiety kind of comorbid with all of this stuff, so...
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, we just figured it all out at the same time, so now I get to deal with it all at the same time.
Yeah. Comorbid, heavy on the morbid. Whee! All right. Neat. Anybody else wanna?
Mine's funny. I'm gonna say this sentence, It's not funny. There's actually a Kotaku article about this. I had a stroke while playing Left 4 Dead, and I had trouble communicating, and people were like, you should go to the hospital. And so I did.
Wow.
And that's how we found out. And then I think of people on Earth, I've had the most MRIs of anyone. I'm in the mid 40s at this point, so
See, you said this is funny, and then said it was. I don't know if it's okay to laugh.
it is absolutely. Please, Jacob, you were laughing with me, not at me.
I want to make sure because you looked me dead in the eye, and I was like, I don't know what to do.
Straight up. I'm like mumbling to my friends because we're doing like a Left 4 Dead post-mortem. And people are talking, oh, I did this great thing. And I'm just like, and they were like, why were you so bad today? They feel stupid now, don't they? I had a good reason. But yeah, that's where the sort of beginning of my health drama started. So that was before 2010. Wow, I'm so old.
I'm older than you are.
Yeah.
So you can feel better, I guess.
Together we're 80, friends.
Yeah, we are. 82. Ooh.
Give me an iced tea.
I have one in the fridge.
Well, I think might be a little less entertaining, I guess.
See, I told you it was funny.
Funny.
So we've learned always end on Mikey.
Always end on Mikey.
Always good. If you're
Always,
talking
yeah.
about trauma, I'm a good go-to. I'll keep it light.
Growing up, I kind of was in and out of. I would go into therapy. I'd see a therapist every once in a while, and then once I moved out of my parents' house, I kind of just stopped going to see doctors, which is a bad idea. Don't stop seeing doctors. They generally know what they're talking about and doing. Kind of worth a thing.
Well, I'm gonna throw up the caution stripe on that one. Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Sometimes.
Yeah, he did say most of the time. Yeah, sometimes.
It's good to get a second opinion
yes.
as well.
And advocate for yourself.
2020 was a heck of a year, believe it or not. And
Did anyone else experience this? 2020?
2020 was wild. And I experienced what I thought was a stroke initially. Turned out to be stress-induced Bell's palsy.
Oh, wow. Oh, friend.
Yeah, very much fun. I was at work. I thought I was having an allergy attack of some sort.
Right.
And because my eye was very inflamed and everything, and it was just like, okay, well, maybe I just need to go home and lay down. And then later in the evening, I think something might be wrong.
Did a dentist show up to my house sometime?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had Bell's palsy when I was younger. Yeah.
There's so I hate to interrupt you. There's a thing that when you've had this, you can make the voice sound exactly, because I'm not making fun of anyone. That is what I sounded like, and I can replicate it immediately. So I'm just like, oh, I feel you. Oh, I feel you.
It was certainly that. And of course, also it was around Desert Bus time too. So lots of things happened there. I think there was a few times where I jumped onto the call and I had to like take off like I was about to come onto the stage and I had an eye patch still on because I couldn't blink my eye. So I ripped it off like right as I was, because I was kind of just like not trying to hide it or anything, but I just like I didn't want people to be asking questions about it because I was just trying to get through it.
Right.
And getting my face. Well, the process of that got me back into seeing a doctor. That's kind of the big end of it. Because of all the stresses and everything like that, we even talked a little bit further, and I kind of like was like, hey, so doc, sometimes I kind of don't want to ever get up in the morning. And
Right,
I don't
yeah.
want to. And it was like such a weird kind of, I had to affirm myself to be able to ask the questions of my physician of like, hey, maybe this is something, maybe it's nothing. I don't want you to just shut me down because that's a possibility, and I am very thankful of my doctor. I will say he's not the best doctor in the world, but he is very much
Nobody narc.
I remember in 2017 where I was like just a husk of a human. I had a journal, and all I would do was write down everything I have to do today, Tuesday. Wash some clothes, eat food, like, because if I didn't, I would just sit there and watch YouTube all day.
Yeah.
Like it was Let's Plays, just
Exactly.
all day.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found writing it down, like, because I got to check it off, like, go to bank.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go to Brahms. I give myself a little treat. Give
Got
myself a little
so
ice cream.
many to-do list apps.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
many.
I have a whiteboard on a very prominent place on my wall. Yeah.
Whiteboard is
I will say,
so good.
for me, so I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression in graduate school. I was then diagnosed with ADHD after Eric was, and we realized that a lot of the things that we do in similar ways are symptoms of ADHD.
Right.
What got me, so knowing that I had a disability after having a major concussion, there's kind of an obvious connection there. Something has just gone wrong. Although it did take about a week to realize how badly. The thing that got me and that took me the longest to realize was how having a brain injury interrupted my ability to manage particularly my anxiety, because all of the things and the tools that I had learned to help interrupt a panic attack, to recognize when things were off kilter, when I was not well managed, stopped working. So while for a time I could consistently stop a panic attack if I noticed it was coming by using a sense-based technique where I'd look at 5 things, listen for 4 things, and then you do like 3, 2, 1, but you go through all the senses, stopped working. And I couldn't figure out why. So while this isn't the story of how, it's not how I knew I had issues, how I knew that I had new issues was I couldn't figure out why I couldn't stop a panic attack. Why nothing I did was helping. And I had realized I had to work with someone to learn an entirely new set of tools. Screw you, head injuries. And I had to do it without speaking.
Yeah.
Because there was no guarantee the word I meant to say was the one that came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had to
Aphasia.
relearn how to speak in 2017, which was funny as a YouTuber, because if you're burned out, let me tell you, people are like, why do you sound drunk all the time? That's fun. By the way, don't read the YouTube comments. They will never have your best interest in mind.
Ever.
Whatsoever.
Ever. Never read the comments.
I make good episodes even if I sounded drunk. Dang it.
Yeah.
Did.
Emperor's New Groove. Hot movie.
Oh yeah.
Hot franchise.
I love that movie.
I'm going to have to leave soon, so
Okay.
I would like to ask a question of the group.
Sure.
And one of the things that I wanted to talk about was accessibility, and what does it mean for something to be accessible, and to a degree, what is the responsibility of people like us who have disabilities, who have mental health
Right.
challenges, to advocate for yourself? Because my 2 big things are, 1, always advocate for yourself, and as someone who organizes things, ask people what accommodations they need.
Right.
Because universal accessibility, where everything is accessible to everyone at the exact same time, is impossible, because accommodations one person needs will actually hinder somebody else. So you have to find ways to accommodate different people in different ways at roughly the same time. So those are my big pieces around how do we make things accessible and what do we need to do. So I'm curious what other people's are.
I find people don't like accessibility for someone who has immense trouble walking and balancing. Just keeping spaces clear or wide enough for me to navigate can be difficult. So like we'll go to like the store and it's like, oh, I guess I can't buy eggs today.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to accept
A lot.
your limitations.
I don't ever accept my limitations. I think is
Or at least you have to be understanding of your own
Yeah.
limitations.
yeah.
You have to be understanding of your own limitations while still possessing the spirit to push back against them as much as you can in order to live.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that I think would be what I would want to say. I was trying to make a pithy comment, but it needs some nuance sprinkled upon there.
Alex?
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I've sort of lived with at least my physical disability for so long that I sort of take it upon myself to make the world accessible to me. Which is very exhausting sometimes, particularly at a time in my life when I was dependent upon public transit, and then again in the winter, like that was a nightmare. Now I have the privilege of being able to drive, but that's expensive, right? So like it sort of always comes back to me, and realistically for myself, I'm okay with that kind of burden.
Right.
But then like out in the wider world, I sort of try to be sensitive to what other people are trying to deal with, and maybe who's getting heard and who's not getting heard in terms of accessibility. And for instance, one of the spaces in which I exist is not very accessible at all, to the point where I know that if I get injured, I'm no longer going to be able to go to that place, which because of I don't want to necessarily say too much, but the type of place it is, it's kind of very important. And so I'm trying to be that squeaky wheel in the room to be like, we need to get some of these things fixed, because we can't hire certain people because we don't have, the accommodations for them at the moment. And I've seen some of my friends get excluded from this space as well because we weren't able to provide them with the accessibility tools that they needed. Like one of my friends is dyslexic, and they needed to do a lot of reading at this place, and the way that management decided to go was to let them go, and that's super unfair to them. So
God, that's a fear of mine.
And like it's legitimate fear, right? Because depending on the space you're in, people are more or less understanding. So
Oh yeah, game development is notoriety. Yeah, just really that's a big understanding space.
And here in Canada, where the burden is for accommodation, like the expectation of accommodation under law is to the point of undue hardship, and the arguments, like the legal arguments that happen over what is considered undue hardship,
Right.
what is considered reasonable accommodation. I mean, so, and I mentioned this to a few people, a conversation I've been in the middle of is, I have friends who are autistic. My husband and I both described ourselves as, we don't think we're on the spectrum, but you can definitely see it from our front porch. So we see people and have a lot of friends who are autistic for whom sensory hours at retail stores are absolutely essential. They have been such a game changer. And then
I don't know what that is. I'm sorry.
lower light, no music, lower
Yeah.
sounds, people aren't going to approach you unless you ask them.
That sounds like heaven.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're my husband's grandfather, who is visually impaired. And he needs people to come up to him to tell him who he can ask for help. Because
Right.
otherwise he's going to go up to some random person. And to me this sounds absolutely wonderful, and wouldn't it be great if this was all the time? But it's not. And he has to be able to also advocate for himself in a space.
Right.
And so that's a conversation I've also
Yeah.
been in the middle of.
As someone legally blind, I feel your grandfather, so
Yeah.
I can't see on my right
And what
eye.
is undue hardship, and what is reasonable accommodation? And reasonable accommodation is having sensory hours, low sensory hours, available to people. Reasonable accommodation is also having times when that's not in.
Yeah, mutual
Not
exclusive.
the case.
How do you say exclusivity?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
But asking for like lights to be lowered, asking for the equipment that you need in Canada should be considered reasonable accommodation, so long as it's not negatively impacting somebody else's accessibility issues.
Right.
As a manager, where I work, I have a corporate job. Go figure. But whether or not it's company policy or anything like that, any of my employees if they need to go see a therapist or if they need to go to a doctor or anything like that, they have that time.
Right.
They immediately have that time. And even though we live in a very discombobulated, or we work in a very discombobulated workplace, I try to make sure that there is spaces that are open for people to be able to walk through them without having to move anything around or anything like that. And it's one of those things that while it's some things that the company isn't asking me to do, for me as a manager, it's so easy to do. To make accommodations for all the people that everybody needs something.
Yeah.
You know, whether you have especially the silver lining, I guess, or one of the silver linings to the pandemic was, hey, we now have these options that have been, dug up now, so that we are able to do, people are able to work from home now. People are able to, maybe they see doctors more. Maybe they're, they've figured out some of their own personal issues and everything.
I kind of spiraled a little bit when you said that, because the start, like COVID through 2021 was, here are the accommodations we can give everyone so that we can all exist in the workplace. When COVID became, obviously still there, less severe, not for immunocompromised people, but like all the accommodations that made it easier to be disabled that I was like happy with all disappeared. And that was like strange. Like society is just like, if you're disabled, you don't exist.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
Yeah.
A lot.
And it's so easy to continue to give those accommodations.
Yeah, Elon, calling you out. Twitter employees should be able to work from home.
Yeah.
On a happier note, I would just like to highlight that chat has pointed out that we are having a really good and important and heartfelt discussion about disability and accessibility, and the bus driver's name is still Fart.
Which was my fault.
Hey, your fart?
I figured out how to write a name.
Is that your fart?
No one told me to press start when I got a point. I was so happy.
Fart? Nobody told you to press fart?
Fart?
Fart.
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 Yeah.
Okay, we figured it out.
On that note, I'm going to go retrieve my child from daycare.
Oh, have fun.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
I hope they are not actively making this sound. Or thank
Usually
you.
it's more... And I'm going to put my hand up for COVID reasons.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, Emily.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Emily. Yeah.
I'll be back tomorrow
See
to
you
give away a
tomorrow.
sweater.
So, how's everybody dealing with it?
Yeah, how's everybody doing? It's in
Like-
the year of
like,
our
let's
Lord
check in.
2022.
Well, I was checking in now. Just how is everybody doing generally emotionally, or should we start to wrap this up because somebody's feeling icky?
I'm feeling okay.
You good?
Yeah.
You good? Matt, thank you for driving, by the way. That does look like a yarmulke on you, and I love it. Welcome to the tribe. How are you doing, our very special guest, whose
good.
name I have forgotten because of ADHD?
Alex.
Thank you very much. It wasn't written down, and I only looked at it once, and therefore it went away. And I know we knew each other last year, but it's also Desert Bus, and I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Great.
Whatever you want.
Thank you so much. Don't say that, though. Don't.
I invite chaos.
I'll name you Fart. Okay, so everybody's doing... No, I'm not gonna... No, it's Alex. Alex is your name. That is the name you have told me to call you. That is what we are doing. Alex Fart. So, good. Everybody's doing okay. How's everybody generally dealing with... Do you want to expand it to the year of our Lord 2022?
Actually, what's funny is, just talking about accessibility, you sent me down a video game hole where I wanted something very... Like, this is a very small opinion, but it's strange when... Like, accessibility features cost a lot. And it's weird how much pressure we put on indie developers and none on AAA developers. So always yell at the AAA developers.
was trying to segue
Everyone
into
should
this
get
point.
accessibility in there, but I just like there is like a whole business discussion that is
100%.
reasonable to have, and I'm like,
Absolutely.
just be mean to EA, it's fine.
Yeah. Very good. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Accessibility and approachability features are wildly expensive and take up an incredible amount of dev time. And sometimes if they're not baked in from jump, they're not going to get in. And I understand that we tend to hold indie developers to a higher moral authority.
Right.
Without taking into account anything about game development and how much it actually costs and what the actual process is.
They think it's free, right?
Free,
It's
exactly.
systems that touch every other system.
Exactly. Like, everything touches everything when you're making a game. Please try to be understanding, especially if it's like a 1 or 2 person team,
Right.
or like indie developers and things like that. Like it's not that they don't want to; it's oftentimes they can't.
Yeah, we'll make the most accessible. There's no game. There's nothing there, but it's very accessible.
It's
we have
incredibly
all the features.
accessible.
You can't do anything.
No, it's Pong without the paddles, and you consistently
Or the
lose.
ball.
Or the ball.
It's really just
it's
0-0.
It's puh. That's what we got. But yeah, it's. I could go on a whole side rant over how gamers don't understand the game industry, but that's another.
That's been true since I joined this.
Yeah. Anywho, I mean, definitely, you can ask for things, but please understand, indie developers aren't beholden to you at all. They just want to make a good game and have you buy it.
Yeah.
And accessibility is something that, like, once something is a success, it can come in
And it cascades.
later
Yep.
and like
It cascades. A lot of times, once
patient.
Yeah, once something is a success, a lot of times, like if you'll see a lot of indie games, like with their patch notes and everything, they put those features in. Anyway. So how is everybody dealing with the year of someone's Lord 2022 with their various issues and
Alex, how you doing?
indiscretions?
It's been a weird year for me
Yeah.
because, like I said, I sort of just fell into my mental health portion of my story this year, so I'm still sort of coming to terms with that and figuring out what my treatment options are, and listening to other people who have the same issues and sort of commiserating and stuff like that. So I'm kind of getting comfortable with it, but I'm also not comfortable with it yet.
I finally got medicated for my anxiety at the end of 2021. And I was like a whole different person. It took a couple of tries to get the right one.
Yeah.
But now that I do, I'm like, oh, is this what being calm and rational is like? This is interesting.
Yeah, it
That
takes.
sounds
Fascinating.
fictional, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. It takes
great.
It takes a lot of perseverance to find the right medication.
Exactly.
How about you?
yes.
How are you doing?
Yeah, it's
I'm-
effort on your part. You can't just phone it in. Like,
Nope.
you do
Exactly.
have to try.
Yeah, you've got to put in effort. Yep.
Exactly.
How about you?
I'm finding we've tried a few different medications, levels of intensity of medications and everything, and I think we've kind of figured it out. We need to figure out the ADHD stuff still, but that's its own thing. But it's also
if
a
you want
lot
some
of
good books or anything like that, I have tons of recommendations.
you have to give me lots of recommendations.
You got it.
sir.
And most of them are audiobooks because a book? Come on now.
Yes.
Oh, no, you continue. I just thought of another thing.
But my big thing is also giving myself. I have to kind of forgive myself and allow myself to kind of not necessarily be selfish, but to use what my brain wants to call it, selfish, and take some time off. Have my me time. Push people away for a little bit if I need to, or bring them in if I need to. I've been loving just spending just a little bit of time outside. Just get rid of everything. Just have just me and some music and enjoying the space outside has been so good.
Yeah. I don't want. I know I'm on a panel about this, but I don't want to talk about it. because it's been rough. It's
That's
been
fine.
really rough. What do you want to talk about? You had one thing?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, in terms of coming to terms with stuff, I guess the other 2021 thing I had to come to terms with was I'm never driving a car again.
Yeah.
Which Tara has been great for. We kind of decided, Guy, here is a hilarious story that is terrifying. We used to go to Starbucks like in 2020, just every day. It was like our morning routine. And I gave the lady at the counter my credit card and she dropped it and she told me to get it. And that's already hard enough to do.
Yeah.
So I end up falling out of the car onto the window while in drive.
Oh no.
So that was traumatizing enough that it took me 2 weeks to even say the word car. I did not flatten my own head under my RAV4, which is light enough. I think I'd been okay. But yeah, that was very, very scary. I fell out of a
gotta keep
moving
your sense of
vehicle
humor.
and it was like no more driving ever again. Also, you could have handed me the card,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You dropped it.
All right. Well, we have some other business and things to get to, but thank you everybody for being here.
Yes.
Thank you so much for calling in. Sorry, I can look up there or down there. You're freaking everywhere in this room.
You are
It's fantastic.
everywhere.
I'm all powerful.
Alex,
Alex the Omnipotent.
Alex,
Alex.
thank God. Alex, thank you so much for being here. Everybody, thank you very much for participating in this discussion.
absolutely.
Take care of yourselves as much as you can. You are the most important person in your life.
Yes.
Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise.
Break.
All right, let's bring in some of the other folks. Thank you once again. I will get you those recommendations. Please reach out later. ADHD 2.0 it would be. It just came out, I think, at the beginning of this year, but very recently, and it is excellent. By Dr. Goldman, I want to say, but I can write them down. If you text me and just ping me, I have them all in a hyperlink. Yes, that's a really good one. And also, the ADHD effect on marriage is very good, just for relationship stuff.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome. Excellent. I'll give you your chair back. It's nice and warm for you, and only a few farts. Oh God. Thank you,
I mean, it
sir.
wouldn't be a desert
Thank you
bus
so
chair
much.
without a few, at least.